The Podsters, episode 22.
Welcome back, Podsters.
Welcome, guys, and happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, everybody. I hope everybody celebrates their mom in some sort of way.
Any way, shape, or form is good. I know that the guys here probably left your presents outside in the backyard.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Yeah, so all you guys out there, all you Podsters, whoever's listening, if you have your moms in your lives,
do something nice.
Do something nice for them. Instead of being a smart ass, be a kiss ass for a day.
It's only one day out of the year. You guys can do it.
Yeah.
Now, this, of course, goes to our American listeners, because Mother's Day is actually celebrated different days throughout the world.
Of course. And when is Mother's Day celebrated in Sweden, Chris?
Yeah, let me tell you about that. It's in June sometime.
It's in June sometime.
Yeah.
You don't know the specific day?
No.
That's okay, because I just normally associate May with Mother's Day.
See, there you go. You wouldn't know. You just know that it's May, hence it's Mother's Day.
It's always like the week before or 2 weeks before is when you start realizing, oh shit, it's Mother's Day.
Yeah, that's when all the ads starts coming up.
All the ads start coming up. All the moms start talking about their birthing experiences and scaring the shit out of me. Makes my ovaries want to shrivel up.
And especially to all you guys out there and the little spoiled mihos, you're man enough to wear pink. Be man enough tomorrow to do something nice for your mom. Do some laundry, clean her house, make her a nice meal,
mow the lawn,
something.
Send her out to get her a pedicure or a manicure or something. A massage, perhaps.
Massage.
Yeah, so, and in doing my research for the show, I was reading some articles, and I got really, really frustrated when I was reading these articles because there were a lot of grammatical and spelling errors in these articles. I'm like, who are these? I guess, what are they, like, internet columnists?
I guess some are columnists, some are bloggers. And the scariest thing of all is that today, some of them are actually even calling themselves journalists.
Yeah, I mean, come on, people. There's freaking spell check. There's grammar check on your damn computer as well. Come on.
Yeah. The internet and social media, whatever you want to call it, it's all great. We can all get our voices heard. But if you're going to write, please just do the basic grammatical checks and spell errors. Because Michelle was trying to read some of the things to me, and I was just like, just stop. I can't even follow, and I know it's not you misreading it. It's how it's written.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I would have to like go over a sentence several times in order to understand what the hell they were trying to say, because it wasn't written right.
And absolutely worst is when that has to do with they quote someone. If you quote someone, you really know what they said. So how can you even mess that up?
Right. Yeah, so my bullshit of the week is on grammatical errors made by you quote-unquote journalists / columnists,
bloggers
on the internet that don't know how to use spell check or grammar check.
Bullshit.
It's part of your job.
You get paid to do that shit. Come on.
Yeah, we don't even really get paid to do this, and we still edit stuff when we have the need to do so.
Yep.
You guys can do the same.
And then on that note, I was trying to find something interesting to talk about. And it's something that we kind of hit on last episode, how I feel about Trump and his presidency. I have to say, he's actually doing some good stuff. And I was kind of excited when I saw a headline that said Trump was gonna, work on a bill to
It's going to try and lower prescription costs, right?
Yeah, try to work with the pharmaceutical companies to lower prescriptions and have Medicaid kind of negotiate prices with these pharmaceutical companies. And, the more and more I read into it, the more and more I looked into it, it really doesn't help anybody at all.
No, but that's I think that's the flip side of complete capitalism.
Yeah. However, he did say that he wanted to get rid of the middlemen of the industry.
Yeah, basically, as far as I understand it, to break it down real simple, and I might be wrong here, please feel free to correct me if I am.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I gather, you have many pharmaceutical companies. They research things and they actually manufacture the medicine, the pills, whatever it is. And then they, of course, can set a price, which remind me about MSRP.
Okay.
When we're done here.
Okay.
And they set their pricing, and then they, of course, want to sell this. And a big client of theirs is the different healthcare insurance companies. But they don't talk directly to each other. There are these middlemen that go in and negotiate rebates and this and that. And somehow these middlemen make a fortune really doing nothing.
Yeah.
And that's one of Trump's big goals, is to get rid of these third-party guys.
Yeah, I mean, that may help, but it's still not reaching the general public's pockets, per se.
No, but I honestly think in the way the whole healthcare system here is set up, I think it's hard to fully reach the end consumer's pockets with anything, because it's built on so many weird rebates and list prices that don't really exist.
Yeah, I mean, well, as far as those rebates go, those rebates generally are supposed to go to the patient or the hospital that uses those that uses the medicines from those pharmaceutical companies. But what's happening is that the hospital isn't transitioning that rebate to the patient. The hospital's actually pocketing that.
Right, but it's so weird just to begin with why would you try and sell something? Which I know it's not actually... It's important because medication can keep people alive.
Right.
But if you look at it, that to me is a general symptom of how things are being conducted in general here, and why prices on a lot of things are way more than they should be. Because first off, MSRP is this elusive list price that doesn't exist.
Uh-huh.
But it somehow triggers people to think that they save money. And it's used everywhere. So
yeah, in cars and computers,
anything really.
Yeah. And
what's weird with it is that the list price is a fictitious price that a manufacturer or a company say, oh, my product here is $20. But if you go out on the market and look, the sort of average price for that thing is $10, which means that you're probably going to have people selling it for between $8 and $12.
Mm-hmm.
So the list price didn't mean shit to begin with, because no one is going to try and sell their product at list price.
Right.
So that's number one. They already tried to give rebates and incentives based on a fictitious overcharging price that they would never charge to begin with.
Right.
Number two is, why would you go out with some sort of rebates for people who uses the product? Because if you think about it, those are the people that have to use the product somehow.
Right.
So they should basically just lower the price and do that towards the end consumer. And if the end consumer is a hospital, the hospital pay less for the times they have this medicine and have to give it to the patients at the hospital.
Right.
So to me, that whole thing is flawed, and I hope Trump can do something about it. He seems to be willing, at least, to do something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. It's like, wow, he has been doing things to, quote unquote, make America great again. I just do not agree with his misogynistic antics and stuff, you know.
No, I don't agree
just
with
really
his antics and
bothers me.
stuff, but it's really like he's actually trying to do things and make things better. I just think that for any president, it's hard because once you start, like you did all this research, and once you start looking into it, the way business is conducted does not quite make sense.
No, it's not. But somehow it's always going to benefit someone in the long run. And everybody wants a piece of that pie, so to speak.
And I get that. If you invent something and manufacture it, you should be able to make money out of it. But we're back again with, do we need to make billions of dollars in profit for what? And do we need to make a little bit more of those billions next year?
Right. And the whole thing is sell. We gotta, and more than likely these pharmaceutical companies are public.
Right.
Companies,
so they hide
behind
keeping the shareholders happy.
Yeah,
bullshit.
exactly. So, you know, what's really sad about it is that some pharmaceutical companies won't even produce certain medications that would probably cure cancer or something. They won't produce it because in the long run, they're not going to make enough money on it.
No, have I told you about my friend who shall remain nameless in this episode? Who worked,
I do recall that story, but I really think you need to share that.
Yeah, he worked for years in bacteriology. He was some sort of what's he called? Bacteriological scientist.
Oh my gosh,
Basically, yeah, basically, long story short, he's a
scientist.
Yeah, he was a scientist, and they spent years working on getting a medication out to completely prevent, what's it called? Not E. coli, something else. You get it from dirty, infested waters.
Malaria?
No, it doesn't matter because we should keep this secret anyway. Long story short, they found a cure for all these poor people in Africa that get sick and die from contaminated water. And it was working. It was foolproof. But no pharmaceutical company wanted to pick it up because they couldn't. They flat out said that they couldn't make enough profit on giving it away to third world countries.
Exactly.
And that's when he quit that industry because...
That's insane. I think I would have done the same thing if I was in his shoes.
I would have too because, like you said, if they don't do that, there's probably cures for cancer and AIDS and God knows what out there.
Right.
But no one is willing to produce it because they can't make billions off of it. And another thing, too, that gets me constantly, I think they should ban lobbyists for Congress and Senate and everything.
Oh, yes, please. I agree as well.
Basically, they are bribing people. It's not called bribery, and that they know all the textbooks and the ins and outs of it.
Somehow the definition of lobbyist got skewed along the way.
Yeah, but I mean, it's no wonder that, for instance, for our musical friends, the CITES rules, which basically means that there's a lot of wood that you use in instrument manufacturing, isn't allowed to be used anymore because they consider it endangered species.
Oh, wow.
And they actually follow those rules. But my point with that is that if you had lobbyists walking around there and I was sitting in Congress and they give me, 150 guitars, yeah, of course I'll sway my decision to we don't need that. Because it's too hard for these guys to come up with replacements and stuff. And that's what I think happens with a lot of stuff, that they get bribed.
Yeah.
It's not flat out bribery like money in a bag, but the lobbyists are too persuasive. Let's just say that.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
And to me, there's no need if you make pharmaceuticals to make the kind of money they make. I'm not saying that people should be doing minimum wage running pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
But there's a limit to how much money people need to be making of what they're doing. Because,
I agree.
Because the cost is passed down to the end consumer with that too.
Right.
And all the weird dealings with how I don't get it, because we've seen this firsthand too, how there's medications that are needed, that they work good. And then the insurance companies go and say that, yeah, but we're not accepting that on our plan.
Right. And it's like, you can take this one,
which obviously doesn't work as good because they're getting
but
somehow
it's less than the other one.
Yeah, and they obviously somehow they get paid for selling you or suggesting alternative B that isn't as good as alternative A for the patient. So in the end, you as a patient suffer from all these people making money off of you.
Right.
And it's sad. So hopefully Trump can and will do something about it. I'm sure he'll feel rejuvenated and fresh after his June meetings with North and South Korea.
I hope that goes well.
So do I. So one thing that came to my mind, just because we talked about Trump and his personality, which is a little bit narcissistic.
You could say that.
You know what really bugs me?
What?
That is
Sorry.
how people, and it's become popular with companies these days to do this, and it's something that happens a lot in the music industry, and sometimes it even happens on personal levels. It bugs the shit out of me that when people have something planned for a long time and they want your help or they want you to do something, they spring it upon you the last minute.
Oh, yeah.
And my theory on it, and this is what infuriates me, because since...
Who did you call that? The last minute opportunist?
Yeah, last minute opportunist. It's almost like they do that so that they shock people into just saying yes, okay.
Yeah, they have no other...
There's no, out for people.
Yeah, there's no out. They can't say no. They can't possibly say no when you spring it on them at the last minute. I mean, I guess that's a good... I
don't know what's good about it, because I've seen...
it definitely benefits the person that's doing it.
Up until now, guys, be aware, because we're putting the warning out that if this is a reoccurring event from someone, you know that they're full of shit.
Yeah, definitely.
And to me, it doesn't work. It doesn't bite on me anymore. Like I said, it happens a lot in the music industry. You get a date set to play somewhere, for instance, and then last second before you can bail out because you know that you have an audience coming, they go like, oh, by the way, we have you guys double booked with another band, so you're only going to get half of the money.
Oh, man.
Or, like I said, in companies too, it's effective tomorrow. We're going to do this. They spring things on people.
Mm-hmm.
And... we've called your bluff now. Just whoever you are, you know who you are. Just stop. Stop doing it. It's annoying. We see through you, and we're not falling for your bullshit anymore. When it comes to work-related stuff, there's nothing you can do about it. But to me, it's just frustrating too, because you guys think that you're smart and you're not. Be honest and upfront. If you planned something, you probably planned it 2 weeks ago. And honestly, if you want my help, chances are that I'm more willing to help you if you give me that time to make sure that it fits my schedule and my calendar than trying some oh, guess what? Tomorrow, I won't be able to make it to your mom's barbecue. You can barbecue yourself because I just remembered that I have this important thing to do. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You could have talked about that 5 weeks ago when you made your plans. So, podsters, when people spring things on you last minute,
they're assholes.
They're assholes.
Just assholes, and they don't care about anybody but themselves.
And it wasn't a last minute thing. So, beware and say the N word. No.
No.
Just say no.
Yeah. And then, thinking about the whole pharmaceutical industry and Medicare and whatnot just gets me thinking about, the issues that my parents could possibly run into when they get older. And right now I am sitting on the outside watching my mom deal with her elderly father who is...
Your granddad.
Yes. And she's having to... Well, she doesn't necessarily take care of him all the time, but she does help out in dealing with his personal matters. And, other family members have taken him in to take care of him because he's kind of not capable of living on his own. And it's like, okay, how are they going to fix this issue? Just from sitting on the outside watching everything, my thing is sell Grandpa's house and put him in an assisted living facility.
Yeah.
So where he has accessibility to medical care and they're watching his meds and stuff. And he would be in an area with other people his age too, because I know he likes interacting with people his age. He goes to the senior citizen center all the time when he was capable.
I think money aside, there's such a stigma about assisted living homes. And I think it's a bit sad because gone are the days where
when people
like
think of like
house.
Assisted living, they think of those nasty old nursing homes where people just, laid there and spent the rest of their lives.
But that's what I'm saying. I think gone are those days when it was sort of the old school nursing homes or what were they called? I just said it, the poorhouse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where there's 25 people rotting away in one room on a bed. It's not like that anymore.
No, it's not. I mean,
like I said, money aside, because financially that's a different issue, but they're actually pretty nice. I actually worked for a while as a caretaker of pets for a lockdown nursing home for Alzheimer's patients.
Oh, cool.
And it was really nice. I gotta say that the facilities themselves.
I mean, just the way you described it. I mean, just in talking about it, it kind of sounds like lockdown facility. It must be like a prison,
right?
Or something.
But not at all.
It wasn't.
No, each person who lived there, they had their own almost like a studio apartment, which was really nice. And of course, if they needed what's it called? Special requirements for beds and stuff, they had those, but you could bring your own furniture.
Yeah.
And the food was delicious. I mean, 3 home-cooked meals a day. They were better than most restaurant food. Honestly, compared to where we live and the chain restaurants that are here, I would go to that place and eat rather than what's being served here.
Wow.
A lot of activities, not just... And you got to keep in mind, this was for people with severe Alzheimer's and other dementia-related illnesses. Mm-hmm. Even for them, they did excursions. So they had a bus and they took people out.
Keeping them active.
They had a lot of entertainment at this place. Like outside
I know
musicians,
a lot of those facilities do that. Yeah. I even have a friend who is a DJ that performs little, I guess...
Yeah, they do the kind of Vegas-style party
or whatever
shows.
for the senior citizens. He'll do dress up and
play
and like music.
I said, the place I worked to take care of these people's pets and the pets they used for therapy there because this was severe Alzheimer's. To me, it's like if that place was that nice, I can't see a reason for why sort of open... What's it called? Open assisted living home.
Yeah, those are definitely an assisted living.
Yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't be equally as nice, but with more freedom, obviously, because...
Right, and can you imagine how nice it would be for somebody who's, more high functioning than somebody who's got Alzheimer's or dementia?
Right, that's what I'm actually...
They would actually enjoy or appreciate it, I think.
I'm convinced. Funny story there. A friend of my mom is elderly. She's in her 70s. Mm-hmm. A friend of hers actually signed herself into an assisted living home. She now lives in an assisted living.
What?
Yeah, because she doesn't have any real family or relatives. She doesn't have any children. It was only her. And she had to pay a lot in rent. She had to go.
So she's older now, and she doesn't have family
she's in her
to take care of her.
And she's fully capable of taking care of herself. But she found an assisted living home and moved in.
Is it assisted living or more of like a retirement community?
No, not retirement community. More of like, I guess, not assisted living. But like living for the elderly, but not in the community. So it's still like they have all the services and nurses and everything on site.
Oh, okay.
So basically she got a room there where she took the belongings she cared about, and she loves it. She gets 3 nice cooked meals a day. She gets to hang out with people her age. Mm-hmm. And since it's not a lockdown, I mean, she can go into town or she could spend the night at a friend's house, whatever she wants. But she was like, look, instead of paying rent, in Sweden, we have cold winters and stuff too. So it's icy streets and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't have to worry about grocery shopping. I don't have to worry about doing my laundry. I don't have to clean. I just
That's
have to
hella smart,
exist.
man.
Yeah. And she really enjoys it. So my point with that is that if it was that horrible to be in an assisted living or an elderly home,
I think I want to retire like that.
Right? No,
Probably because when I'm actually able to retire, I will be old enough to go to one of those assisted living homes.
Yeah, and I've had friends who's worked in them, and people seem generally happy there. I can understand that it's a shock, the initial shock of telling somebody that, guess what, we're putting you in a home is not a pleasant one. To have that discussion. I think few people are like my friend, my mom's friend, who just like, yeah, sign me up. But I think in the long run, it's not a negative thing. If you compare it to not being able to get your meds right, not being forced to do anything, God knows when and where, food comes from.
Right.
To actually have all those things in one facility, getting taken
all the
care
amenities
of,
and the activities that they provide, and there's
see
medical
people
care.
Your own age.
Yeah,
I mean, if you feel like it a day, you can be in your room, but also you can walk down the hallway and you have people with similar, points of views and life experience,
right?
And be able to hang out and talk with them. I don't see there's anything wrong with that at all. I think it's an added bonus.
I would say so. So yeah, that's definitely something that everybody has to think about eventually. Ultimately, you should think about what is best for that loved one.
Yeah. But I think it's a tough decision.
And a lot of people have that stigma about, I could never, let my parents go live in a home and stuff. That I want them to, live their end days at home and stuff. And it's like, okay,
which is fully fine if they're fully capable.
But that's fine and dandy. But who's going to be there to take care of them when they're incapacitated?
Yeah, see, that's the problem, that there are people.
I mean, because like my grandfather, I mean, he's not incapacitated, but he's got little to no movement in one of his arms, and then he has 2 bad knees and
medications galore.
Yeah, medications galore. He's got congestive heart failure. And so he's taking all kinds of medications, and it's just, he messes up on his meds. He forgets what he took last. And, you can set up those little pill boxes with the Monday through Sunday through Saturday kind of thing, and he'll still mess it up. He'll still take too much of something.
And that's not a good thing. Plus, how much fun really is it to sit around in somebody's house all day long and just sit?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, First of all, you're not there. You can't be there at his every waking moment to make sure that he's not taking something he shouldn't be, or that he's not doing something to where he can fall. You know, everybody works.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too, in today's society. I mean, we have to realize whether it's taking care of our elderly or, like I said, all you manly men in your little pink polo shirts. It's not the 1950s anymore. And I mean that as in women these days, for the most part, are working people. They pull their 40 hours a week as well.
Yeah.
I fully understand the sort of old-fashioned senses of, oh, we should take care of our elderly. My parents or my dad, whoever it is getting old. He should move in with me. Fine, when you had somebody home all the time.
Right.
That's not the case today. And
I mean, back in the day, there were a lot of housewives.
Yeah,
more
that's what
or
I'm
less.
saying. It's not the 50s anymore.
You know?
Back then, you had housewives and they were home. Yeah, of course, you can use them as sort of a caretaker, or call it what you want, while they're at home, that they're there. But these days, that's not the case. If grandpa needs to go to an appointment, it means that somebody needs to take time off of work to get
exactly.
in there.
And, you know, and the sad thing is what he's got 3 children that are clearly capable of taking him to his appointments and stuff like that, but everybody bickers and argues about who's going to do it next.
Yeah, because
and it's like,
at the
okay, you know what?
At the end of the day, who wants to lose their personal time or PTO to do it all the time?
Well, that's just a sacrifice that you would have to make in order,
if that's how you want it,
in order to have him living at home.
Right. So the smart solution there would actually be assisted living. Nothing says, and here's another thing, I don't get that. You put your loved one in assisted living. It's not a prison. Not even the lockdown Alzheimer's facility I was at functions as a prison. You, as a relative or a friend, can come and visit any time of the day you want.
Yeah.
So that would just be like go and visit somebody at their house. Then if you choose not to do it, that's on you. But there's no rule saying that, oh, the only time you can come visit somebody here is Wednesdays between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think the clever thing would be assisted living and go visit as often as you want.
Yes, that's a good solution. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more than... I'm pretty sure...
You're pretty sure?
I'm pretty sure that there's more to it than just, you know, hey, let's just go ahead and put him in a home because, you know, we can do this and that and have the money to keep him there.
Of course there is, because finances is another story.
Yeah, finances, I mean, and it's just like, I think maybe something has to be done. I mean, his Social Security isn't going to cover living in an assisted living facility month to month.
No, but there's other assets that can be used, and I know that actually a lot of these places are good at finding. It's almost like grants for people,
right? Because
they do want their facilities to be rented out or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So where there's a will, there's a way. And I would say that before making any rash decisions, it's definitely something that maybe should be looked into.
Definitely.
That's a start.
So any of you guys out there thinking about having to do what you got to do, definitely do your research, look into it.
Yeah, let us know. What do you guys think? If a scenario like that is the case, should a person be sort of allowed to stay at home at any cost, or could an assisted living be a good option?
A better solution.
Let us know. And last but not least, for our musical friends.
Da, 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 da.
We already know Gibson filed for Chapter 11, so we're done with them for now. GuitarCenter is kind of following that same way. We don't know for sure yet, but we did some interesting finds today. because my wife suggested that maybe I should take some of the guitars I don't use that often and see if I should trade them in for something that would be more appealing. So we did some research online, and guess what, guys? It really looks like GuitarCenter, something's going to happen there, because their prices, especially on used stuff, is being basically slashed. We found guitars that normally is $1,200 going for, was it $800 and stuff? So
and I figured that that's what was going to happen. I mean, once you said that there were rumors or talks about Guitar City going under, I was like, they're going to start slashing the prices on a lot of their stock items.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that if you're looking to buy something used, I would try to buy it used later into their, I guess, bankruptcy process. Their liquidation process is pretty much what it is. So, because they would make more money off of the used product, there's more of a margin there for them, a profit margin there for them. Oh, excuse me, guys. So you might be better off just buying something new. And I mean, they're going to slash their prices. I have a feeling they will. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, and it looks like they already start to like minimize their inventory and stuff for getting ready for what may come.
Yeah, and then at some point they're probably going to stop buying or trading
used stuff.
Used stuff, because it would be pointless.
Yeah, and it looks like they've already started something. So if you're hunting for good equipment at good prices, I would say look into GuitarCenter.
Yup.
And on that note, guys, go take care of Mom. Give her a big hug. And remember... Go
buy her some flowers. And remember, don't be a smart ass. Be a kiss ass.
You can do it. It's only one day out of the year. On that note, guys, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.